This is the most mysterious mechanical spider in the universe. On its back, there's a barbershop run by a god. The barber Luis is the owner of this shop. It's said that many gods were created through his illusions and transformations. He has existed for even longer than the universe itself. The customers of this barbershop are selected at random by him, but they can't leave without getting a haircut. This is because the door to the barbershop was set by Luis as a gateway to the stars. If someone opens it recklessly, they'll be transported to any corner of the universe, unless they have permission from Luis and his assistant Amy. No one can leave without their approval. Luis doesn't charge his customers for haircuts, but during the process, they must tell an interesting story. It can be a personal experience or a bizarre tale they've heard. As they tell their story, it will appear on the screen and eventually transform into energy that powers the mechanical spider's journey across the universe. But when the customer finishes their story, they'll find that their hair has grown back instantly. If they have no story to tell during their next visit, Luis will throw them into a time vortex. However, the customers who stayed in the barbershop have all become missing persons in the real world. Every day, Amy brings them plentiful food to ensure they have the energy to tell more stories. One day, John had run out of stories to tell, so he decided to share a story about a blue police box that he had seen in a movie. But little did he know, the energy generated by this story was so immense that it summoned the 15th Dr. Jack. Jack, a Time Lord, wasn't surprised by his sudden transportation to this place. Soon, guided by his time machine, he entered the barbershop. However, when he learned about Luis's identity and the shop's rules, he realized this was no simple matter. When the red light in the shop turned on, it meant one of them had to get a haircut. To prevent harm to others, Jack volunteered to be the one to get his haircut. But Jack didn't want to tell a story. He wanted to break the rules set by Luis. But something strange happened. He found himself uncontrollably speaking about something from his memory. Jack told the story of a nurse who missed her grandmother's birthday because she was too busy caring for a patient. The screen displayed the entire event, and the nurse in the story was none other than Jack's assistant Anna. Though it was a short and heartwarming story, because it was told by Jack himself, the energy generated by it actually sped up the mechanical spider's journey, a phenomenon that had never happened before. When Jack finished his haircut, he couldn't remember what had happened during the process, and his hair had grown back, even longer than before. Seeing that Jack alone was enough to sustain the spider's movement, the others begged Luis to let them go. But Luis told them that since the shop opened, no one had ever left alive. In that moment, their weaknesses as humans were laid bare, and they shamelessly begged Jack to save them. It was as if they had forgotten that just moments ago, they were betraying Jack in exchange for their freedom. But Jack didn't hold a grudge against them. Instead, he discovered something: Luis was not a god, and he had no real divine powers. The legends about him were probably false. When the red light came on again, Jack volunteered to get his haircut once more. But this time, he asked Amy to cut his hair because he recognized her as the youngest daughter of the god Anansi. Once, when playing chess with Anansi, Anansi had lost and tried to marry Amy off to him, but Jack had refused. The way to leave this place lay within Amy, but Jack didn't know that after he refused to marry Amy, Anansi had given her to Luis. As a result, Amy had long harbored a grudge against him.